Why is death a topic that society encourages us to shy away from, as if it's not a completely natural and essential part of existence? We seem to just shun the thought of it. As with all of my videos, I just talk from my truth. So the things I've experienced, I then express, and if there's parts that resonate with you, take them and run with them, and then leave what isn't for you. When I was about 15 or 16, it started to sink into me the concept of everything ending, right? So dying and these kind of things. And no one I turned to seemed to have an answer, okay? And these are people who, in my life, I thought must have thought about this. It all came crashing down on me, and I was like, wow, this is such a huge thing. Turns out, actually, people don't very often. Obviously, there's people that do, but a lot of people run away from this idea. The people I turned to, when I say they didn't have an answer, I wasn't expecting someone to explain to me and say, yeah, when you die, you go to heaven, or yeah, when you die, you don't go to heaven, or whatever their opinion was. The people that I turned to, they felt unsettled in their own belief of what happens. So actually, it's a good thing, because it turned me on a path quite early on of learning to formulate my own opinions that were based on my own truth and my own experiences, right? It did surprise me at that age, the people that I turned to who were older than me, who have lived a life, and I said, what? Oh, I was almost laying it on the table, like, what are we going to do about this? I almost wanted consoling, but no one could console that part of me, because it was a part of me that had awoken. So there was a part where you realize no one else has the answers. You only have your own experience. So then when you come to your own truth, when you let things be, when you are vulnerable and you submit to the moment, to what feels true, that's the only time you feel settled. When you try and find the answers externally for a core existential thing within you, you can take bits from people, and I'd recommend that. Take what resonates, but you can then formulate your own view that begins to make sense to you. And always actually stay open to the reality that we don't know. The not knowing is a huge clash with human nature. People feel like they need to know. This is so common, and you see it so much just throughout life, social media, everything, right? So people want to put everything in a box because it makes it simple, and then they feel like they know what's going on. It's much harder if you put yourself in a position where you realize that there's always more to everything. Every story, every news story, every personal interaction, there's always more under the surface. Many people don't want to divulge into that because it then opens the door of endless, like you have to, it's a way of being, it's a way of living. Once you're aware of that, you can't ignore it anymore. So death, why do we shun it when it's such a core part of life? I began to take the mentality, we should embrace it. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if I shut my eyes, it doesn't matter if I pretend, it doesn't matter if I'm scared of it. It's as much a part of life, so much a part of life, that we only live because of death. Everything happens because it ends. Otherwise it wouldn't happen. In this experience that we have now as humans, everything has to begin and end. It's how we perceive this reality. It's how we have the gain and the loss. This is the fundamental core principles of this existence. If this is something you've not thought about before, imagine how maybe in a game you have a physics system, there's certain laws that underwrite these experiences. And in the case of ours, we need to have a sensation that things can begin and end. Yet this is an illusion of our experience. It still occurs. But what I'm saying is outside of this experience, there cannot be an end because there is something. So there always has been something. A state of true nothing cannot exist because something has become. There always has been because there is. So that can't go somewhere and never be, because then it would be going somewhere. What feels so wrong to me is how people don't want to think about death. They're so scared of discussing it. They're so scared of realizing actually you can use it something to enhance your life when you have the perspective. Funerals are dark, they're miserable, they're drab, right? It's all about the loss. It's all about that they're gone. I can appreciate the ceremony of it, but it doesn't resonate with how I would want my death to be perceived, of how I would want my death to be handled. I would want people to remember what I did, and you know, you can appreciate someone and express that with colors and with love and with joy while being in the pain. And we have such a hard time doing that over here, which goes back to people wanting to make things simpler, which means choosing a side. You can't be happy if you're sad. Surely that's not how it works. Actually, you can. Duality exists. You can hold both at once. So how can we begin to shift the perspective on death to benefit us? So for me, it's become kind of a hack that in any moment, and I've done this for many years now, I will remind myself that this entire experience will just be gone. Now, I'm not saying I know what happens, I'm not saying I know what's next. This is about how you can enhance this experience of your life. Now, at first, existential crisis. Of course, this is very common. You're not the first person to have these thoughts or have these feelings. You can find online a plethora of different ways of interpreting these thoughts and these feelings. And that's the beauty, is you start to realize you can come to your own conclusion, as have all of these other people, as have all of these philosophers. Just people coming to their own conclusions, okay? And you can do the same. You have just as much of a right from your own experience to do that. And that's what I find the satisfaction in pondering reality, in discussing reality, is not pretending that different people have the answers. It's noticing what feels true, and it tends to be a combination and a blend of all different answers depending on the circumstances. When you can use the remembrance that life ends as a way to push you forward, it becomes a booster. And it can push you into situations that maybe you are unsure about doing, but you know they'll serve you. It can remind you to embrace the day. It can remind you to enjoy. Life is so fleeting, and we go throughout life and get hit with these different stages of grief and these different incidents. And it's based on how we interpret those as to how we move forward with our lives. Some people go through in a bubble thinking that they're somehow separate from their experiences or separate from the world, which is how we've been conditioned to be. We're so disconnected from our nature because of what we're conditioned to believe. And the fact it's socially encouraged to be this way, it's then easier for people to slip into that than it is for them to actually step outside and become their trueness, become their true unique self and embrace it. Everyone's unique anyway, but it's your job to embrace that and to accentuate that, right? To really flesh that out, because that's when you're going to start to align with what's meant for you. People don't want to do it out of fear, out of pressure. There's many different factors like this. Now, from death, of course, comes life, and life goes to death. When you start to notice these laws of reality, for me, it gives a sense of relief. I'm no longer attached to the outcome. So with dying, why is that so terrifying for us? Often just the thought of it alone can trigger fear within us, especially when we haven't confronted it yet. Being a living being, it goes against everything we know. So biologically, we of course don't want that to happen. There's also everything we have, which is our ego, again, perfectly healthy, is wanting to keep what we have. Our family, our relationships, our friends, our possessions, our hobbies, everything will inevitably go, however much we want to keep it though. And it's accepting that that is as much a part of reality as you wanting to keep everything and being the ego that holds it all. I'm not saying run all the way off the other end and don't have any possessions or relationships or attachments because you just lose it all anyway. Sure, there are many people that choose to live like that. But for me, it's realizing you can tap into this to benefit your life. It's so common to follow that singular path of not swimming too far into these waters of thought. You know, the truth is, when you open certain doors in your mind, you can't shut them again, you can't go back. So that then leads you, in my opinion, to have the only option of embracing them if you want to live fully. If you're ignoring a part of your psyche, if you're ignoring a part of your reality that's true, similar to the shadow self, if you ignore that, it demands to be seen, because that is part of truth, that's part of reality. And when you embrace that, you can actually have a full experience. Realize that by reaching into that, you unlock a new range, okay, a range of perspective that many, many people will not tap into. And this allows you in all different situations in your life, you can tap into those deeper understandings and improve your quality of life, okay? A simple example is if someone's horrible to you, without perspective, you might begin to think there's something wrong with you because of this person. They've said this, so it means there's something wrong with me. They've done this. Even other people's actions, when someone acts a certain way, you can start attaching your worth and yourself to their actions. But the reality is, everything outside of you has never been in your control, ever. And it will inevitably change. That is the nature of life. Do we embrace the change as best we can? I think so. I think that's probably our best option. Or do we shun it and cling and hold and grasp. No, what happens then is you drown things that you love. You suffocate the things that you love. You create this struggle against the inevitable flow of life. And using this perspective of death being completely fundamental and natural and necessary helps you build a perspective that lets you embrace. You're going to live a life that feels more loving, it feels natural. Now, to many people, these thoughts can feel daunting, so not everyone is going to want to hear this perspective. One thing that I've always done is just speak my truth, with no intention of changing someone else. Take people for what they are and who they present themselves to be, and just always speak your truth. It doesn't mean they're going to connect, it doesn't mean they're going to listen. They might not, but it's the best thing you can do. This has really been a ramble. I came here today, I had the topic in my mind of death, but perceiving it in a way that benefits you. So obviously we've not delved into other details of death. It's a huge topic. It's always clashed with me how people would rather not think about it. And I don't mean I love thinking about death and I obsess thinking about it. That's not what it is. It's a key that you can use to, instead of blocking a part of yourself, so then you're almost blocking something within you, you use it as a key to unlock that and go, actually, in different moments, I can have that little reminder and I'll make the most of it. I'll make the most of life, because it will happen. So why are we scared of the inevitable or the unknown or change when life itself is unknown and changing endlessly, and death is inevitable? So yeah, we just have to enjoy the ride as best as we can. So thank you so much for watching. As always, please leave a comment if you want to discuss or leave your thoughts. I love hearing them. I wish you all the best, and I will catch you again. So take care. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.